What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much again for tuning back in here for part 2 of our interview here with Scott Wood, former in-state basketball player. So please make sure, again, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to really help support us on the channel. Follow us at Tuffy Talks Now on Twitter and Instagram. And please like this video and check out all of our other great in-state content. So, Scott, in this last episode, we kind of talked about kind of what you're up to these days, talking about the new NIL and, talking about the change in dynamic college basketball. So one thing which I did want to ask you about, because it's something that, for me, I always think about. So in 2012, I think it was your senior year, you were part of a team with CJ Leslie, Richard Howell, yourself, Lorenzo Brown.
Ralston Turner.
Yeah. Anyway,
that was later.
No,
yeah, Ralston Turner,
no,
I don't think it was him. Sorry, I'm totally blanking.
he was after.
He's in his redshirt year. We had T.J. Warren.
Yeah, that's who it was. I was
and
Tyler Lewis. Yes, that's it. I was totally blanking on the names for a second. I don't know why. But so thinking back on that, because there's no doubt. I think that for me, that was one of the most talented teams NC State's had in quite some time. And so, I always think about, like the upsets you all pulled off where you guys just absolutely smoked Carolina. You upset, top ranked Duke and and then you guys overall did well, but then, when you guys made it to the postseason, weren't able to do a whole lot. So I just kind of wanted to, from your end, kind of see what was your thought on that season? Because it seemed like that there was a lot of big wins, but there was also some losses. I was actually in the Wake Forest student section at the Wake Forest basketball game that we lost. And it's just how can we beat the teams we beat but lose too? And again, by no means am I saying, Scott, why did you blow it? But what I am saying is, it seemed like there was something there. So I wanted to kind of get your opinion on that, just because, I can't help but keep on thinking about that season because that was a talented team.
That was,
me and TJ Warren, when he comes back every once in a while, we talk about it all the time. It was probably, I tell everybody, even considering national championship teams, it was probably one of the most talented teams to come through NC State. I know Corciani had some talented teams during that era too. There's a lot of talent that's come through NC State, but from top to bottom, we had athleticism, we had skill, we had bigs, we had shooting, we had guys that could pass the ball. We were very, very talented. But that's one of the things I kind of look back on my career, and I look back on it and just kind of wish I would have been a little bit of a better leader, a little bit more vocal. We just didn't really mesh. We had some freshmen that were coming in that were really, really, really good, highly talented, McDonald's All-Americans. And then we had, 4 guys that, had started the last 2-3 years and have just been there forever. And, it's solidified themselves as being really good in the ACC. And it just didn't click. And looking back on it, it's just one of the things I kind of regret. We were preseason 6 in the nation. I remember we went to Puerto Rico and lost to Oklahoma State, which looking back on it, they had LeBron Nash and Marcus Smart, which obviously is a really good team. Yeah. Maybe Phil Forte was his name. They had a really good a shorter shooter that shot the hell out of the ball that day. But just looking back on it, it was just a really good team. And I wish I would have been a little bit more vocal of a leader because at the end of the day, I came to NC State to put them on the map. I tell this story all the time that Indiana basketball is the Mecca. That's you go there. My gym has 7,600 fans. It's basketball is different there. The ACC is that. So I wanted to play in the ACC. I wanted to be a part of the Tobacco Road. I wanted to be a part of the history. And learning the history while I was at NC State, I always felt that NC State needs to be in the discussion with the Dukes, the North Carolinas, as some of the great programs that have ever existed. So for me, I just wanted to put us back on the map before I left to carry it so someone else can carry on the torch and NC State can be prominent. And, we did struggle that last year, but, the year before we went to the Sweet 16, the year coming back, we lost to Temple, the only mid-major I think I've ever lost to in my career. Khalif Wyatt just went bonkers, and then they had some big foreign kid that Joe Giglio would know his name, made 6 threes in the first half that probably wasn't even on the scouting report. So it was just a little bit of bad luck there. But, just looking back on it, I mean, we made 2 tournaments. People started getting excited about NC State basketball in the years after. Mark Gottfried went to a couple more Sweet 16s, and that's really what I wanted to do. And obviously, looking back on it, we very easily could have had a Final Four team and made a run at a national championship. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt. Yeah. And it hurts to this day to say it, but we just didn't click. And it's one of those things that I'm always going to think about.
Well, don't worry, Scott. It's something that we've moved on from as well.
But I'll say this:
it's always something that.
No, I want to know this too. But having said that, you can think of that what if. But I'm going to tell you what, man. The impact you and CJ and Richard in particular and Lorenzo had. You brought us, Lorenzo. Basically 2 Sweet 16s, I think. My thing is though, that far outweighs the what if, man, and that kind of stuff is so to me, y'all are the team that brought back NC State basketball, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Y'all are that.
And that's all. And I mean, honestly, when I came here, that's all I wanted to do. I mean, just looking back on it, I mean, a rough year in the late '90s into the 2000s, and Julius had some good years right there, and then it just kind of fell off. And I. Looking back at the history of this program and looking at the banners every day you come into the practice facility, there's no reason NC State. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying NC State should be a national championship contender because I don't want to put that on Kevin Keats. But at the end of the day, you got to be in the discussion for the ACC. The top tier of the ACC, and consistently making the tournament. And at the end of the day, Mark Gottfried always used to say it to us. If you make the tournament, anything can happen. And that's kind of where it is. You may lose the first round sometimes, but at the end of the day, if you're making the tournament, you're getting talked about, and that's where NC State needs to be.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you about that 2012 Sweet 16 against Kansas, and that game came down to the end, and that I think 2012, so I would have been a sophomore in high school. So this was I lived and died with that race, every shot, which I guess I still do, but it was peak of my fandom. And that last play, it's almost a full court pass to Richard Howell. He catches it and just turns around and immediately shoots it. And you're standing there right next to him, wide open. Did he just not think he had as much time as he did?
Yeah, I literally walked off the court.
Would you have hit that 3?
He said it right. We're literally if you go back and watch the video, he literally comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, I didn't know you were there." And to the, right then, he said it, and I'm not mad about it at all because it's one of those things at the end of the game. You got to get a shot off.
Yeah,
you'd be even more mad if he passed it to me and the ball was still in my hands.
Exactly.
And I didn't have a chance to get it
exactly right.
The one that bothers me more than anything is the possession before that. We ran a hammer pass. And so basically a hammer pass is a ball screen where Lorenzo is driving from the corner. So he's driving along the baseline and he throws a pass while going out of bounds to me where I'm getting a flare screen to go to the corner with him. Yep. And I was going to be open and I was going to make it. And he couldn't get all the way to the baseline for some reason. So he had to throw it from the corner. And when he threw it from the corner, it was just a little bit too high. And so I had to step back to catch it. And my, left or right foot was
stepped out of bounds.
And to this day, I tell everybody, if that play would have been executed right, we would have been in the Final Four because we would have smacked UNC next. I think I know. Marshall or somebody was hurt.
Yeah.
Would have smacked them.
Yeah. That would have been one of the all-time greatest NC State UNC games ever. But again, all that to say, the legacy to me, that core 4, and I would include TJ because he was there kind of with y'all at the same time.
Yeah.
Man, y'all will never be forgotten. I know I'm not trying to be cliche, but it's that is something that is I mean, like we haven't had that in forever, and we still haven't had like y'all were the last time we had a banner hung like that. So it's pretty awesome what y'all have done, and nothing to look back on, and be like, oh man, yeah, shoot. And as a competitor, you're probably going to, but
yeah. So obviously, one of the things I did want to bring up because I feel like we couldn't really have a Scott Wood interview at this point if we didn't bring it up. So obviously your experience with Wolfpack TBT, obviously now you got through that, and so I'm sure for us State fans it was cool to see especially in the practice on the practice court or whatever, seeing guys like you, Torrin Doran, Ralston Turner, like all these old guys that. Or sorry, not old guys.
Old guys.
Guys that used to be at NC State is what I mean.
Crippled and old.
Feeble. But like on like different teams playing on one team, like Malika Boo, like who you never got to play with, playing together. And so, for us it was cool to see. But I mean, I wanted to kind of get your kind of overall, especially of like those first couple practices, like kind of bonding with these former players. Like how was that experience?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, just looking back on it, obviously I had time with Ralston, and CJ Williams was my roommate for 4 years. So, I mean, I had a good bond with CJ. Just getting to play with them. I mean, we've all overlapped. So like when I came back playing professionally, they'd be in school. So I'd play pickup with them. So we'd been together for many times, not necessarily played in a game, but been together many times. And for me, it was just a lot of fun. Even though it wasn't the real NC State uniform, it was just nice to kind of be back. And obviously the game didn't go how we wanted. I mean, I had 3 or 4 that were about as in and out as can be. And we just couldn't get it done. And we knew if we could get past Miami, we would get a couple more, because we felt like Miami was going to be the toughest one we had. And they ended up, I think they got to the Final 8. They cruised for a couple games and played really well. And I think their 2 best players ended up getting COVID right before that game and had to sit out. So then that's why they ended up losing. But I just remember we got done with the game, and everybody obviously was pissed off because we, playing for $1 million and you want to win. But we got in the locker room, and Juice, Jordan Collins, who was our coach, said something. Taylor Johnson was there, said something. Ralston said something. And I just kind of told him, hey, I got something to say, guys. I just wanted to, start to get a little emotional. But just telling them, it's kind of like I said, we all turn, pro, and you start getting a check. And so you're not really playing for the love of the game anymore. And for me, it was nice to put on the uniform with guys and feel like I was back at NC State. And I knew, every person in that locker room had my back. That's not necessarily the case when you turn pro. And so it was just nice to kind of, excuse me again, get back with these guys and just play the game just because you wanted to win, not because of anything else, because, I needed to get X amount of points, but just because we had one common, thing in our lives, and that's NC State basketball. And that's something that nobody will ever be able to take away from us.
Absolutely. And I mean, did you feel like, for the most part, I mean, I know that you actually competed in the 3-point contest as well, which I was like, I'm putting all my money on Scott Wood in that area, no doubt about it. So
that's a source too, man.
I know.
I ended up losing. It was literally, I tell everybody, dude, there's a reason why I didn't go to the Big Ten, because I did the 3-point contest too, and I had about 5 of them in and out. Like literally just like the game, like halfway down, come out. And I lost by 1 shot. And I'm like, dude, come on. And then the next round, the guys I was supposed to go up to couldn't make a dang thing. And I'm just like, dude, you got to be kidding me. I was like, this is the worst. And so I told Dad, I can't remember who commentated our game. The one guy that nobody at NC State likes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's probably most commentators. But anyway, I literally told him I'm running down. I had missed like 3 in and out, and he's an IU guy, so I've kind of known him a little bit from growing up in Indiana and being around him at some camps and stuff. And I told him, I said, this right here is why I didn't play in the Big Ten.
Yeah. And it almost I'm almost like curious if like after, maybe even after the Miami game, you like walked up to like the facility staff and was like, Are those rims regulation? Seem a little tight or something up there,
made
man.
out of.
Like,
I had to look it up. Some ball. It
on.
was is it Dan Dockich or Dakich?
Dan Dockich.
Yeah.
He's always been good to me, but I know NC State fans.
I'm not a fan.
Do not care for him.
I don't mind him.
To each his own.
Yeah, to each his own. We more care about the refs in basketball than necessarily the commentators. I feel like, but
hold on, I don't know who I had.
I could name.
I had one of them in my game, and I got with him, and I busted his balls pretty good while we were in the game. So if we don't get any calls this year, you can blame that on me when he gets us.
Great.
So he was reffing
TBT. Yeah.
Oh.
TBT.
Okay.
If someone can find it, I know who it. I just can't think of the name.
Well, for us, the two names are Carl Hess and Teddy Valentine. We know that they're still.
It wasn't Teddy TV. Teddy TV did the game before us. He
Teddy
didn't want
TV.
it to.
What a guy.
Teddy TV. I love it. All right, Wolfpack Nation. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it short a little bit. We're going to have to actually make it an extra third part. The conversation went much longer than we had expected, but it was so good that we just couldn't stop. So we're going to have a third part coming out this Thursday to finish out the interview with Scott Wood. But please make sure, again, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps support us and the channel. And please like this video if you enjoyed it, and also check all of our other great in-state content. And thank you as well to our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group. Make sure to go check them out as well. And also to make sure to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't already. But thank you all so much again for tuning in. As always, go Pack, y'all.